Hello and welcome back from the holidays, viewers. This is Eye on Port, where we bring Ghana's ports and maritime industry closer to you. At Eye on Port, we also discuss trading issues that have some direct or indirect impact on the port business. It is made possible by the Ghana Revenue Authority, Goyle PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link, Meridian Port Services, and Phoenix Insurance. Eye on Port is powered by Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Our media partner is the Business and Financial Times. Viewers, last week we discussed the national budget for 2025 and its predicted impact on trade and business with the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the Ghana Union of Traders Association, but we were unable to cover all that we needed to cover. So this week we went back, re-engaged them, but this time with the Association of Ghana Industries to pick up where we left off. This is an excerpt of that discussion. Take a listen.
What are the key policy measures that you found in the budget which looks very positive for businesses, especially the industry that you're in?
Thank you, Aisha. I think one of the major pronouncements that the minister made was the intention to look at the realignment of the VAT regime. This is a major issue, considering those of us in the industry, in commerce and in trade. VAT is not really aligned in our country. There are different rates of VAT, so we as the players don't even know which one they are paying and at which time. So with the intention of looking at that, I think that with that announcement, I think it's good. Another important thing that they also mentioned has to do with the gold board, and we are yet to understand it, but basically we understand it to be able to manage the gold, to be able to buy enough gold so that we can have enough reserves. That means that our currency potentially will be strong. Once the currency becomes stronger, the exchange rate becomes stronger. So it means that over a period of time, businesses can actually plan because you know how much the dollar to CD rate is going to be. So whether you're importing for trade, whether you're importing for industry, for processing and stuff, you understand that over a period of time, this is how much I'm going to pay, or this how much I have to spend. Because as it stands now, a lot of people who, for one reason or other, have to use dollar as an exchange to bring in goods and services, most of their capital is wiped out because it's very unstable and you can't also plan. Plus the fact that when you come to the port, it's also that is one of the things I can't even understand, that the operators at the port have their own exchange rate as compared to what is announced, and that for me is something I think the government has to look at. So considering all the announcements that were made during the minister's presentation, I think these are a few of the things that I think are positive for the business community, looking at the realignment of the tax. And I hope this can be done soon. The minister didn't state. He said within the year. And I think we can't wait within a year. We need to be specific that maybe in the next 3 months or in the next 6 months, all of these things would have been done, considered, and implemented. So basically, those are some of the things.
Are there negatives?
Yes, the negatives are that we didn't see any tax pronouncement reliefs for industry. All the tax that has been withdrawn or cancelled, for me, I classify them as more as social benefits. So you are looking at relieving tax on betting. People in industry don't do betting. We are looking at taxes that would make us be able to import more for industry. Okay, so if you relieve tax on that, yes, it's for the society, those who are
more like social intervention.
Yes, that's it. The only tax relief that really has to relate to those of us in the industry had to do with COVID, and that is right. I mean, we don't have COVID anymore. For us to still be paying taxes on COVID, that is a no-no. That is really a no-no. So that relief is good. But how much is it? If you really look at your bills at the port, they have up to 22 line items of taxes you have to pay. Plus the fact that you pay tax on tax. You pay VAT, or which is a tax on when they have summed all of your taxes up. You pay another tax on all of the taxes that have been summed up. So the only relief is the COVID that has been relieved, but technically it really doesn't serve as much because it's negligible.
When the government came out and said it's going to take some of these nuisance taxes, it was a welcome news to us. But all said and done, we're looking at where we can get a cheaper credit to trade. And it also came out with a women's banking, which was a welcome news to the business community, because you go to the commercial bank to go and borrow. Now it stands almost about 35 to 40% interest rate, which businessman can survive under this dispensation. Even if you want to go into production, if you want to go into production, go and borrow at the rate of 35 to 40% to do production. You cannot be competitive to your neighbors who are producing the same item that you are producing in Ghana here. That is why most times we travel outside the country, bring the same item that is being produced here, pay all the duties, and it's still cheaper than that which is produced here. So it's not amusing for us to just travel out there to go and bring import. We wish all the goods and services are produced in the country, we just do the distribution. But our manufacturers and production, they're also struggling because they can't go and borrow at the rate of 35 to 40% and even maximize or even break even. So you could see that they are not competitive in the world market. The same product, this pen that I'm holding can be produced somewhere maybe like $1. It comes to Ghana, it can produce like $5. Considering utilities, the cost of utilities and all these factors. So when we saw in the budget that we're going to support our women in business and in trade, we said that's a welcome news. But the quantum of the money that was voted for was minimal. So we want to find out how, because if you say it's a bank, the threshold, now to open a bank, you need about 400 million?
400 million.
400 million. So if you're going to start a bank with a 50-something million, I don't know whether it's to build the infrastructure or whatever. So these are some of the questions we need to be asking. Yes, so we're looking forward for that. But so far, so good. We think the budget has brought a little relief. But one of our disappointment was that there was a special 2% special levy that we used to pay at the port. That government came to us and said they have some challenges and therefore they needed to raise some funds. So they are bringing 2% special levy on import duties, which we agreed. And so when the sun sets, they will take it off. Over a decade now, the sun has not set yet. the minister came and said, now it's going to be 2028. They are pushing it to 2028. We don't know who will come there and say, oh, we are pushing it to 2030-something. So these are the challenges and difficulties that we face at the port. One of the things I heard the minister drumming home was that his regime is going to emphasize on compliance. I believe with compliance, we can raise the needed revenue. But I also have the other view that the position of our tax regime and our tax, like my brother said, the tax rate, it will be difficult for compliance to be adhered to. Because if your now tax rate, VAT rate is about 22%. Duty rate, cumulatively, is about 55%. Yeah. 55%. So just imagine you import a goods worth about $100,000, you are paying about $55,000 as a form of duty. Who comply? So that is why people always look for ways. So all that we say is that why would you reduce the tax rate? The issue is not about the tax. We don't have a problem with the tax. As for tax, every country needs tax to develop. But the issue here is about the rate, the quantum. Our rates are just too many, and it's making it difficult for compliance to be adhered to.
Mr. Paddy has just made the point that foreigners are taking over our businesses, and indeed that has been the concern of many other business-minded people. What's in it for the AGI? I'm talking about the budget. What's in it for the local industries?
In terms of what is in it for Ghanaian industries, first of all, we very much, and I associate myself with the statement by my other colleagues in the studio, that we need to really prepare indigenous businesses. And that is very important because we need to have good part of our money staying in Ghana, retaining the bulk of it and employing our people. But at the same time, we are also mindful of the fact that we have institutions like GIPC that has been given a budget to go around the world and canvas for investment. And therefore, there's strong competition for foreign direct investment. And therefore, if investors are coming in, we cannot discourage it. The only thing is that we want the investors to be in places where it has positive and very strong multiplier effect on the economy. So if you have investors coming in, they're coming to do industry, manufacturing, and they're employing people, and they're investing capital in the energy sector and a few areas that has very positive multiplier effects, then that should be encouraged. But where you have investors coming to compete with you in the marketplace for just buying and selling, then we are misdirecting the investment. And therefore, I support the idea that we support indigenous businesses, and foreign direct investments should be areas that we don't have the necessary technology, capital, and the capacity to do big-time ticket business. But even there, I also share the view that there must be local content so that, like what is being done in the petroleum industry, I know now if you want to set up a business in the petroleum industry, you must actually necessarily have a joint venture. It's by law with Ghanaian company. So, of course, there are other discussions that we need to have around it. The extent to which the Ghanaian company should be involved, the percentage sharing, and how they will not only be fronting for the foreigners. But the intention is good. So the whole idea of local content can be looked at. But as far as this budget is concerned, I think that there have been, some positive indications. So, for example, my colleague talked about the big push, the 10 billion Ghana cedis are being earmarked for infrastructure development. My only comment there is that it must be directed, because infrastructure can be done anywhere. And we've seen situations where infrastructure is being done in residential areas. I mean, we would love to have road network, very beautiful in our residential areas, but what is the multiplier effect in terms of the economy? So if you are talking infrastructure, it should be directed to where we have, if you look at the industrial enclaves, industrial zones, you could see immediate impact on industry. The link road that brings the raw materials to the production centers have to be very good, and therefore we need those roads to be good. Then the feeder roads that brings raw materials. So any infrastructure that supports manufacturing, that supports industry is very important. And I think the way we direct it will be very important. So that is good. But again, as I said, let's look at the big push. There's one thing that the minister also mentioned, which I thought is very good, and it's been discussed by my colleagues here. And that is the fact that they are going to use government procurement to support made in Ghana products. That for me was a massive statement, a very good statement has been made.
So those were the thoughts of the Association of Ghana Industries, the Ghana Union of Traders Association, and the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry on the budgets for the year 2025. For the full conversation, check out our YouTube at Iron Port. Now let us hear a few comments and then we go on break. This one says, good evening, Iron Port. The shipping lines have their own rates, and each shipping line's rates differ from each other, and it's always higher than the BOGs.
Good energy brings you quality choices with Goil Super XP. Available in many Goil stations nationwide. It is fortified with special additives that help your engine perform better and use less fuel. Branch into a Goil station today and energize your ride with Goil Super XP, compatible with most vehicles. Goil Super XP, Wufilia, huh? Wubefeel. Goil, good energy. Yeah, yeah.
Electricity, the pay of taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes. Sometimes serene, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302-246-319 or 0243-690-492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
Welcome back, viewers. Today's episode is packed with a lot of news items. Take a listen.
The Ghana Chamber of Shipping has launched the Alhaji Asoma Banda Maritime Forum as an annual event scheduled for March 1 each year. This initiative aims at honoring the legacy and immense contributions of the late Alhaji Asoma Banda, a pioneering maritime transport entrepreneur, while also serving as a private sector-led platform to advance his vision of transforming Ghana and Africa's maritime industry. The inaugural memorial edition, held on March 24, 2025 in Accra, followed Alhaji Banda's passing on March 1. The event brought together key figures from the maritime trade and logistics sector to pay tribute to his achievements and reaffirm their commitment to industry transformation. In his welcome address, Stanley Raja Aholu, president of the Ghana Chamber of Shipping, described the late Alhaji Asoma Banda as having laid a solid blueprint for the maritime sector, emphasizing the crucial role of private sector leadership in driving economic growth.
Permit me to take this opportunity to invite all of you, particularly the private sector, to join the Ghana Chamber of Shipping in continuing the work started by Alhaji Banda to transform Ghana and Africa's maritime transport sector, which is a critical force, as I've said earlier, in our economic transformation and development. We ignore this sector at great peril to the success of Ghana's economy. We ignore it at great peril to the success of the AFCFTA agenda. We ignore it at the peril of the success of Africa's Agenda 2063, the Africa we want.
Industry leaders shared personal experiences of working with Alhaji Asoma Banda, highlighting his influence and visionary leadership. Revered by many as the doyen of African shipping, Alhaji Asoma Banda was the chief executive of OT Africa Line, which flourished in the 1980s and 90s. He also founded the Antra Group of companies and played a key role in the establishment of Meridian Port Services, significantly shaping Ghana's maritime landscape. The Alhaji Asoma Banda Maritime Forum now stands as a lasting tribute to his contributions, ensuring that his vision for a thriving private sector-driven maritime industry continues to inspire future generations.
The acting executive secretary of the National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons, NACSA, Dr. Adam Bona, has reaffirmed his outfit's commitment to working closely with the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority to tighten security at the country's entry point and prevent the illicit flow of weapons through the port. During a courtesy call on the Acting Director General of GPHA, Brigadier General Paul Seidu Tanyekulonu, last Wednesday, Dr. Bona emphasized the need for heightened vigilance, especially as the threat of terrorism in the Sahel region gradually extends southward.
I must say we are the only institution that is trained to trace weapons that are made all over the world. We have the capacity. So if you gave us even a disused weapon, we should be able to tell you that it was done in the Soviet Union in this factory. So we have the capacity to do that. We have men amongst us here who have been trained. So the police would usually refer firearms they can trace to us, and we trace them and give them information about firearms. But what we need is the bill to be passed and then resources to do our work and do it effectively.
He also urged GPHA to support an upcoming bill aimed at strengthening NACSA's mandate, which he believes will be instrumental in curbing the spread of arms within and through Ghana. Additionally, he expressed NACSA's intention to enhance control efforts at the port of Takoradi to improve security oversight. Brigadier General Tanyekulonu welcomed the proposed collaboration, stating that he is personally committed to ensuring GPHA supports NACSA in its mission.
I agree with you that we can collaborate, especially when it comes to intelligence gathering on suspected smuggling routes, and then profiling of individuals, and then arms trafficking, among other things. And we can also collaborate when it comes to risk assessment to see how best we can identify these vulnerabilities and then vulnerable areas. Joint operations, and it's also an area that we can also coordinate, collaborate, and see how best we can operate together.
He further called for increased community engagement to raise public and stakeholder awareness of the Commission's role in national security. The second phase of the Port of Tema expansion at MPS Terminal 3 is set to be completed ahead of schedule, with final works expected to be ready before the last quarter of the year. So far, 80,000 square meters of paved yard area have been added to the existing 112 hectares, with the remaining 7 hectares slated for completion by September 2025. In recognition of its safety milestones, Meridian Port Services, in collaboration with project consultants, contractors, and employees, has celebrated achieving 2 million man-hours without a lost time injury at the expansion site. Speaking at the event, MPS Limited CEO Mohamed Samara emphasized the importance of ensuring that the Port of Tema continues to uphold its growing reputation as a maritime center of excellence to meet global trade demands.
We all seen during the project how bigger the ships are getting, and actually middle of next week the biggest ever ship to call on sub-Saharan Africa will make its maiden voyage, the very first call in sub-Saharan Africa at our terminal. 2, 3, 2, 1, hip hip hip! Hip hip hip!
As part of its preparations for the acquisition of 19 additional gantry cranes to support Phase 2 of the Tema Port expansion, Meridian Port Services Limited has constructed a new warehouse to enhance its maintenance operations. The facility measures 35 meters in length, 50 meters in width, and 6.5 meters in height, will play a key role in sustaining the country's aggressive equipment maintenance program. Speaking on the development, MPS Limited CEO Mohammed Samara highlighted the strategic importance of the warehouse in ensuring operational efficiency.
Also, we placed order for 19 more gantry cranes to arrive on top of the 13 that we have on the waterfront and 40 that we have in the yard. So the quantity of cranes that we will be rolling out and deploying in 2026 is quite significant.
In line with its commitments to maritime decarbonization, MPS has also expanded its fleet with the acquisition of 3 electric empty container handlers and 3 electric pickup trucks, all running on zero emissions. The MPS CEO further revealed that the company aims to phase out diesel-powered equipment entirely, with 19 electric gantry cranes already on order as part of this sustainability initiative.
We wanted to take really a big step forward. Giant equipment, they're all 100% electric, zero emission.
The Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, Anthony Sapon, has introduced Brigadier General Glover Ashon Annan as the new Commissioner of Customs at the Tema Sector Collection. Brigadier General Annan, until his appointment, was the Presidential Security Coordinator at the Jubilee House. He replaces Brigadier General Ziblim Ayorogo, who served for just over a year. The Assistant Commissioner in charge of the Tema Sector Collection, Theresa Potaki, reaffirmed the sector's commitment to meeting its 60.88 billion Ghana cedis revenue targets. Brigadier General Ziblim Ayorogo commended the Tema Collection team for their support and urged them to extend the same cooperation to his successor. Commissioner General Anthony Sapon assured that the GRA will fully support the Tema Command in achieving its revenue targets. He also noted that following Parliament's approval of the abolition of certain taxes, the GRA will take steps to implement these charges once President John Dramani Mahama acceds to the bill.
The Danish ambassador to Ghana, Tom Noring, has commended Ghana's ports, describing them as among the most efficient in Africa. According to him, despite strong competition from neighboring ports, Ghana is well positioned to become the gateway to West Africa. Ambassador Noring made these remarks during a courtesy visit to the Director General of the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority-GPHA, Brigadier General Paul Seydou Tanye Kulono. He lauded Ghana's maritime industry for its strides towards sustainable shipping, highlighting Ghana as the only African country to have signed up for the zero-emission shipping mission, a clear indication of the country's commitment to environmental sustainability in the sector. Efforts are being made to persuade the Danish Maritime Authority to explore new areas of collaboration beyond the current partnership. Reflecting on the success of the cooperation, Ambassador Noring noted that the initiative has led to the training of tugboat masters and facilitated Ghana's hosting of Africa's first ever green shipping conference. In response, Brigadier General Paul Seydou Tanye Kulono expressed gratitude to the Danish government for its long-standing partnership. He emphasized that the collaboration has strengthened the capacities of GPHA's mariners and law enforcement officers while significantly enhancing maritime safety. The Director General further called for expanded cooperation in areas such as sustainable shipping and environmental management, including waste management, to align Ghana's port with international best practices.
Now, for this week's Word of the Day segment, we will tell you what we mean by advice of shipment.
Advice of shipment.
Advice of shipment refers to a notice sent to a local or foreign buyer advising that shipment has gone forward and contains details of packing, routing, etc. A copy of the invoice is usually enclosed and sometimes, if desired, a copy of the bill of lading.
Now, let's take a look at the schedule of vessels that have berth in the ports of Tema and Takoradi at the anchorages of both ports, as well as those expected in the coming weeks, plus the Bank of Ghana exchange rates, which you may need to know to clear your cargo with. Viewers, that's all for today's Eye on Port. We hope you've been informed and educated. Remember, all Eye on Port content can be found on our YouTube channel, Eye on Port. Subscribe, like, and share our videos. Thank you for watching.